apomixis, let us discuss this. The term apo, this means away from. Away from. What this apo term senses actually? It senses like away from something, absence of something, no, don't. This type sense it carries actually. So apo means away from. So as the word indicates, it is away from mixing. What is mixing? One male gamete and one female gamete mixes, we call it fertilization. So apomixis literally meaning is actually away from fertilization. Means in this procedure, this is obviously one method, one mode of reproduction, and in this reproduction method fertilization will be absent. So I want to ask you one question. If fertilization is absent in any type of reproduction, what it is called? It is then called asexual reproduction. So apomixis is actually one type of asexual reproduction. So this is one type of asexual reproduction. But this is one special type of asexual reproduction. Why? Let us see. Fertilization will be absent in all types of asexual reproduction. Fertilization is generally absent. But why this is specially termed like this, apomixis? To understand that, we have to first understand what fertilization results. This is our one rough sketch of our ovary in angiospermic plant. This is ovule. Inside the ovule there is embryocyte, you know, and there is the female gamete, and this is the ovary. After fertilization, when the male gamete will fertilize the female gamete, then this ovule will be transformed into seed. This ovule will form seed, and this ovary, these will be transformed into fruit. So the production of seed and production of fruit is generally the result of sexual reproduction. But in case of apomixis, what will happen? Let us see. Apomixis is actually one type of asexual reproduction where fertilization will be fully absent, but there will be seed. It is production of seed without fertilization. Let us now see why apomixis is so special. Without fertilization, absence of fertilization, this is actually one basic feature of asexual reproduction. So this phenomenon, this character of apomixis indicates and it defines that apomixis is actually one type of asexual reproduction. So without fertilization, absence of fertilization is a feature of asexual reproduction. So this is asexual feature. What do you normally know in case of asexual reproduction? The reproductive units may be spores, sometimes it may be vegetative, or it may be any other thing. But seed is supposed to be formed only after sexual reproduction. Seed is actually sign of sexual. It is a basic characteristic feature of sexual reproduction. So production of seed, this phenomenon, seed, it signifies or it indicates, it carries the sense of sexual reproduction. So the production of seed, this phenomenon is actually sexual phenomenon. Okay, so apomixis is such type of asexual reproduction which mimics, which resembles one character of sexual reproduction, that is seed production. So we can say that apomixis is asexual reproduction which mimics sexual reproduction. So this is the specialty of apomixis. You know, this event, if somehow ovary has been transformed to fruit without the help of fertilization, then we call this phenomenon P. Let us write down. Let us now discuss different ways by which apomictic seed may be produced. Apomictic seed means those seeds which have been produced through apomixis. There are basically 4 ways. One is non-recurrent apomixis, recurrent apomixis, adventive embryony, and vegetative apomixis. Among these 4, this 2 is very much important: adventive embryony and recurrent apomixis. Before understanding this procedure in detail, we have to recall the megasporogenesis procedure in case of angiospermic plant, and also we have to recall how female gamete was produced in angiosperm. Let us see it. The megasporogenesis in angiospermic plant was started from one archisporial cell, later on which was called megaspore mother cell, which was diploid. So this is one megaspore mother cell, diploid cell. This cell will undergo meiosis division. So write down here meiosis 1. After this meiosis 1, this megaspore mother cell will produce 2 cells. And obviously, as it is meiosis, so the ploidy level will be reduced to half. As it is diploid, these cells will be haploid, and this is now called megaspore diode. Megaspore diode. After this, these 2 megaspore diode will undergo meiosis 2. So there will happen in meiosis 2. After meiosis 2, there will be megaspore tetrad. Okay, these all cells of the megaspore are haploid. This is megaspore, these are haploid. 4 haploid cells will be produced from one megaspore mother cell. This is called megaspore tetrad. Megaspore tetrad. And you all know that among this megaspore tetrad, 3 will be degenerated, which are in the teloidal end, and 1 which is in the micropylar end will retain, and that will develop into embryo sac. So for example, we are considering that the upper 3 will degenerate and the lower one, say for example, this is at the end of micropyle and this is teloidal end. So the micropylar ended megaspore will retain, will survive, and it will form embryo sac. How it will form? So let's take it. This is our megaspore. This megaspore will now undergo free nuclear cell division. And after free nuclear cell division stage, what it will produce? You all know it will produce one 7-celled 8-nucleate stage. So there will be one 7-celled 8-nucleate stage. There will be 2 nuclei which are called polynuclei, you all know. And this structure is called embryo sac. This is, we are just recalling, you all know this. And around this embryo sac there will be nucellus layer, which is actually one type of nutritive layer. There will be nucellus. And covering this nucellus, there will be 2 or few or 1, 2 or 3 integuments layer. Okay, so we are writing down 2 integuments layer. This is one integument, inner integument. This is outer integument. So this is the head part of one ovule. This structure is right now called ovule. These will be added to the ovary with one funicle. Suppose this is the ovary. This is our ovary. So this is the basic process by which our embryo sac in angiospermic plant has been produced, and this is the procedure by which megaspore mother cell converted to one female gamete. Which is the female gamete? This cell, this is the egg. This is the egg, and each and every cell of the embryo sac is haploid, obviously, because those all have been originated from this megaspore, which was haploid. So these are haploid cell, all are haploid cell. Now let us discuss what is non-recurrent apomixis and recurrent apomixis. First, let us discuss non-recurrent. In case of non-recurrent apomixis, first let you know that this type of apomixis is very rare. Okay, this is not so much familiar and very common. This is very rare, and this is found in some very few species. Like it can be found in Solanum nigrum, or it is also one very common apomictic procedure in common tobacco plant, Nicotiana tabacum. This is very rare one, first of all. What happens here? Let's see. In non-recurrent apomixis, this whole procedure will be continued. It will be as it is. And even the embryo sac will be also produced. So this embryo sac will be also produced. Embryo sac will be also produced. And the seed which will be developed, that will be also from the egg cell. So here the apomictic seed, it will be developed from this egg cell. But this egg cell is not fertilized. This is unfertilized egg cell. If this unfertilized egg cell develops into embryo, and that embryo develops into one seed, that procedure will be called non-recurrent apomixis. So here what will happen, if the cell is haploid, it will develop into haploid embryo first. One embryo, this embryo will be haploid, apomictic seed, and inside the seed the embryo will be also haploid. So you can understand, if the plant is diploid normally, the haploid stage of it or the haploid form of it will not survive for a long days, and this type of plants which will be generated through non-recurrent apomictic seeds, they will be sterile. So this procedure will not be repeated in the next generation. That means this will not repeat, this will not occur again. That's why it is called non-recurrent. You know the meaning of recurrent? Recurrent meaning which occurs often or repeatedly. So this process will not repeat again in the next generation. That's why it is called non-recurrent. This non-recurrent apomixis is also called haploid parthenogenesis. This is just similar to haploid parthenogenesis. Let us discuss why it is also haploid parthenogenesis. What is parthenogenesis? I think you all know. Development of embryo without fertilization. So development of seed without fertilization, it was called apomixis. Development of fruit without fertilization was called parthenocarpy. And development of embryo without fertilization is called parthenogenesis. Here you see, in case of apomictic seed, non-recurrent type, the embryo which has been developed, it is also without fertilization. So this is also one type of parthenogenesis. And in this parthenogenesis, the type, the chromosomal content in the embryo, that is haploid. So it is also called haploid parthenogenesis. So this is our non-recurrent type of apomixis. Let us now discuss the second type, recurrent apomixis. This is something interesting. In this way, what will happen? There will be megaspermal cell, and And from where this megasperm mother cell have been originated? These have been originated from archisporial cell, which is actually part of nucellus. So this has been originated from archisporial cell. Okay. But this megasperm mother cell will not undergo meiosis. This megasperm mother cell will not undergo meiosis. This procedure will be fully absent in case of recurrent apomixis. This megasperm mother cell will directly produce embryo sac. Normal embryo sac will be there as it is, but there will be no meiosis. So what will happen? There will be mitosis. That means this egg cell which will be produced in this way, that will be diploid. So here the egg cell has been produced, but each and every cell which is inside the embryo sac, those are actually diploid. So these all are diploid. Now, if this diploid eggshell, this egg which is actually 2M, if this diploid egg cell continues to divide and it forms embryo. It will form embryo. This embryo will later form seed. So if as the egg is 2N, so embryo will be also diploid. The seed will be also diploid, and the plant will not have any problem because the chromosomal content is adequate here. It is diploid. So this process will be repeated again in the next generation of the plant. That's why it is called recurrent apomixis. So here you can see, here also embryo is being generated, or embryo is being formed from egg directly without fertilization. So this is also one type of parthenogenesis. But here that embryo which has been produced is diploid. So this recurrent type of apomixis may be called diploid parthenogenesis. So this can be called diploid parthenogenesis. This is also called gametophytic apomixis. Gametophytic apomixis. This type is very common. This type of seed production is very common in apple. Apple means malus, and pear. Apple and pear, which are actually fruits, means these trees are known for its fruits. Let us now discuss the third type, adventive embryony. You are familiar with the term adventive or adventitious. You have heard about adventitious root in case of rice, in case of wheat and many other cereals. What this adventive or adventitious term indicates actually. Suppose B is one organ or something. This organ or this part of any plant or any other thing, of any plant or any organism, B is supposed to be produced from A. Like as roots are supposed to be produced from a radical. So if roots are produced from radical, that is normal. But if roots are not produced from radical, then those roots will be called adventitious roots. In the same way, B is supposed to be formed from A, but B is being generated from C. Then this B will be called adventive or adventitious. The same concept just apply here. It will be adventative embryony. Embryo, from where it is supposed to be developed? It is supposed to be developed from egg. Okay, from this egg. This is egg. And in broader sense, it is supposed to be developed from this mega gametophyte. Mega gametophyte. It is supposed to be developed from mega gametophyte. But if embryo is not developed from mega gametophyte embryo sac and it develops from other parts, then it will be called adventive embryo. Here, what are the other parts? There is our nucellus, which is a nutritive layer that surrounds the embryo sac, and there are two protective layers also. These are our integuments. Whatever may be the ploidy of this embryo sac, it may be haploid or diploid. The ploidy of integuments and nucellus will be diploid. This is diploid. Suppose these diploid cells, some cells from nucellus or integuments, they started to divide and they protrude inside the embryo sac. They started to divide and protrude inside the embryo sac. These cells developed into embryo. Then that type of embryo will be called adventive embryo. Why this is adventive? Because embryo is not supposed to form from nucellus or integuments. It is supposed to be generated from mega gametophyte. But here embryo development is taking place from the cells of nucellus or integuments. So these are other parts than mega gametophytes. Then this type of embryo will be called adventive embryony. And as it is diploid, so there will be no problem. Embryo will develop into seed, and this type of seeds will be obviously apomictic because there is no meiotic division, there is no fertilization obviously because these are diploid cells. This mega gametophyte may be present there, and there may be one functional egg, and that egg also may generate another one embryo. Then see, the number of embryo inside this ovule will be more than one. And this phenomenon is called polyembryony. And this adventive embryony or polyembryony is very common in citrus. Citrus means orange, which you generally have, and this is very common in mango. And this adventive embryony is also called sporophytic apomixis. Earlier we called recurrent apomixis, where there was haploid embryo, and that was called gametophytic apomixis. Here the embryo is diploid, and this will be called sporophytic apomixis. Okay, this is also called sporophytic apomixis. The next type is vegetative apomixis. This is very common. Here, the flower inside which this embryo producing structure, ovule or ovary is present, the flower is replaced. The flower is not found there. The flower is replaced with bulbils or some other structures. So here, in case of vegetative apomixis, here flowers will be replaced by bulbils and some other structures. And you know what is the nature of the bulbil? It starts its germination. It starts germinating well on the plant also. And this type of apomixis may be found and very much important in case of agave. Bulbil is found in the agave. This is also very much important for allium. Okay, so these are our 4 types of apomixis.